The leaders of the United States, Australia, Japan and India have been discussing joint security measures as part of a coalition known as the Quad. The loosely based alliance has been mostly dormant for nearly a decade, but China's increasing role in the region has renewed concerns. While their meeting in Tokyo comes a day after the US President Joe Biden said Washington would use force to protect Taiwan if Beijing attacked. Well, let's hear now from Bradley Bowman. He is Senior Director of the Center on Military and Political Power at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. Well, thanks for taking time to speak to us here on the programme. The White House today has been dialing down those comments by Joe Biden, but does this signify a strategic shift in what the US's ambitions have been in that region so far?
This is not the first time we've seen President Biden in a press conference answer a question like that by saying, yes, we would come to Taiwan's defense if the Chinese Communist Party decides to conduct an invasion. And it seems clear that's where his heart and soul is. And that's frankly where a lot of Americans are, as we've seen the balance of power shift in the Taiwan Strait. And we've observed Putin's unprovoked invasion in Ukraine. And we're trying to apply those lessons in the Taiwan Strait. But it is a bit inconsistent with long-term U.S. policy. It's been based on the Taiwan Relations Act and this deliberate ambiguity we sought to achieve, where we didn't want to encourage Taiwan to declare independence, but we also wanted to make sure we did what was necessary to deter an invasion. So we saw the administration trying to kind of walk back some of those remarks, and it has created some confusion. But I think there's growing will in the United States to have a more assertive policy related to protecting Taiwan.
We've got some heavyweight customers taking part in this, the so-called Quad, as we mentioned in the introduction. How realistic, then, do you think is it that China's expressed concerns that this, we could be looking at an Asian form of NATO?
The Quad is not NATO. It's not unlikely to be NATO anytime soon. I'm not sure it should be NATO. But I think Beijing is right to be concerned for all the right reasons. I mean, China has undertaken the most aggressive military modernization effort in the history of the People's Republic of China. As they've become more powerful, they've acted more aggressively in the South China Sea and the Taiwan Strait. And I think at the broadest level, what we're seeing is a contest of two worldviews. It's the might makes right model that we're seeing on display in Putin's unprovoked invasion of Ukraine. And we see it on display in Hong Kong and the South China Sea and the Taiwan Strait. And the other side of that is this Quad, these leading world democracies, large economies, who are saying we stand by a free, open, inclusive Indo-Pacific. So, that's only going to be a problem for China if they have a problem with a free, open, and inclusive Indo-Pacific. And sure enough, we see that they do in their actions in creating these artificial islands and loading them up with weapons, trying to say who can and cannot sail through international waters or fly through international airspace.
Briefly, if you could, how much do you think the conflict in Ukraine is playing into this?
I think it's having massive implications. I think a lot of Americans and frankly Europeans wrung their hands about how much support to provide Ukraine before the invasion. We were spending too much time worrying about provoking an authoritarian bully and not enough time thinking about how to help beleaguered democracy. I think that has direct implications for what we should be doing right now to help Taiwan.